If you are having suicidal thoughts and you're wanting or planning to act on those thoughts, please call or text 988 or chat on 988lifeline.org. Podcast is Powerfully Navigating Suicidal Thoughts.
And I'm passionate about creating an environment of love, acceptance, and understanding for those facing mental health issues, especially suicidal thoughts.
I'm Vicki, and I'm involved in powerfully living to end death by suicide. I practice the principles of family as a place of love, growth, and commitment. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Vicki.
So we've been talking about triggers, and we both have had a lot of things happen lately that have caused us to be triggered, right? And you just helped me work through one yesterday. It was really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you notice about what types of triggers what types of things or triggers do you have?
Oh, geez. So I'm gonna start with like the last couple of triggers that I noticed. I noticed that when somebody occurs as showy, I feel very uncomfortable, and like my sense of belonging kind of goes out a little, but mainly like a sense of safety goes out. I'm like, oh, if you're too showy, it's going to result in something potentially not good down the line. Um, and then also like, in the world of like belonging, there's a fear of losing connection or relatedness with others. I'm trying to think of like, a totally different thing that I found triggering recently is my partner wants to date around, and so there's like a loss of stability in the schedule and the patterns, and um like I have fears about not experiencing love and safety.
Mhm.
um and there's a little bit of like, who am I if I'm not in this relationship? Yeah.
Yeah, so that is definitely a loss of how you identify with yourself and how you identify with your environment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely loss of safety, loss of stability, and emotional connection
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sense of self. All four of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I've been experiencing triggers, and yesterday, well, um, my husband misheard me and I misheard him. And normally we can work through it a lot more quickly, but we are in transition right now, moving from Boston area to Seattle area. And because his mom has some health issues and we're here in Utah, he's staying with her, and my aunt has health issues and I've been staying with her um, to help support her. There's a loss of stability that we normally have and loss of that connection, emotional connection that we usually have by being in close proximity to each other. And when what he said to me had some truth to it, but it really demolished my own sense of identity in a very profound way. So I had a hard time even, I wasn't connecting to him and what he was saying. I was connecting to feeling like I was totally squashed and demolished. And definitely, yes, yeah, and loss of emotional connection. So I had a loss of all of those things. And the trigger was caused very high levels of anxiety for me. So, and where I'm just going to go right into it. When I have high levels of anxiety, I find I can't relax and I don't sleep, or I sleep very little, and it's really hard to get relaxed enough to have my body be able to calm down enough to go into sleep. I find that I'm a lot more irritated. If I do eat, it's munching, nervous munching, and I don't have hunger signals. So it's just like I can lose weight during that when I'm in high levels of anxiety. I think I probably have. I-
Oh
well,
no.
I'm not too worried about it because I started out at a good weight, a little bit overweight for me. So I'm not really worried about it right now. But in the past, I would get really concerned because it was hard. I had high levels of anxiety most of the time, and so I was always having to try to keep my weight on, or keep eating enough that I could keep some weight on. And and then when I'm high levels of anxiety, my it's hard to manage my glucose because my glucose levels will spike and crash and spike and crash. So I really have to watch my eating, which means I have to cut out carbs and sugar. So it's hard to keep the calories in when you're cutting out carbs and sugar to the level I have to manage anxiety. So yeah, so that's what high levels of anxiety look like for me. And then low levels, um, it's just different. I have more energy when I have just low level anxiety. So I will stay up longer because I'm not tired. And sometimes I like it because I get more done, but it's not really productive more. It's usually high levels of anxiety. I wander around more. I go to do something and I can't remember. Low levels of anxiety, just a little bit of fogginess. I'm not as clear, productive, able to work through hard tasks. So I will pick easy things to do, things that I know how to do instead of something new that takes a high level of creativity that I won't have when I have low levels of anxiety. How about you, Lisa? What does levels of anxiety look like for you?
Um, Geez. I think I get caught in like low level, more than high, or at least I find it like I'm more surprised when I catch it. And I think that's why I'm like, oh, this is really important. So in low levels, I find myself slowly going to bed later. So it could start off 15-30 minutes later. And then, about 2 or 3 days in, it's like hours later. So
Mhm.
it's like a good indication that like I have something running in the background that feels unresolved for me. Um, I'll start eating less. I'll be like really avoidant about spending money. Um, I'll really struggle to make decisions. And it's like even something I want to do, I'll be like, do I really want to do that? Can I really afford that? Is that really a good idea? So it's not like, oh yes, and automatic. It's more like there's a lot of pausing and hesitation.
Yeah.
I end up doing a lot of like repetitive or mindless tasks more than I usually do. Like I always enjoy playing my game or doing certain kinds of like repetitive things, but the uptick, it goes from like, an hour to two to like, oh, I can't stop almost. I end up pretty foggy headed. If I'm in high levels of anxiety, I'm really agitated. I'm not sleeping. Um, I get super irritable over small things, so I'm more likely to be short with like the barista or whatever. Um, I'll have like racing, racing thoughts about problems I can't do anything about. And I'll find myself like doing more physical activity, trying to like burn off that excess energy.
Yeah.
Um, oh, in low and high, I'll find myself scrolling through the news. Like scrolling through the news is a great indication that I'm in anxiety. Because, like,
Yeah.
for me, scrolling through Facebook is a nice way to connect with people, and the algorithm isn't really programmed for things that are triggering, for me at least. But yeah, scrolling through the news feeds that my computer recommends or like YouTube recommends is a great indication. Watching, oh, I go from watching a little bit of YouTube to like an hour. An hour will go by and I'll be like, oh, you must be really anxious because, an hour in the middle of the day or, at a time that's not usual. Like I enjoy YouTube to wind down, but if the winding down period goes past normal, I'm anxious about something for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's really great. Well, not so great that we get triggered, right?
Right, but it's good to notice it and it's good to talk
Mhm.
about it because I think
Yeah.
it brings awareness to people. And I think as long as you're aware, you have the access to start making shifts and changes.
Yeah. So, I would just like our viewers, so I'm just going to suggest to you, like, notice for yourself. So, what things do you get triggered by? And then even put in the chat, like, what things you get triggered by and what do you do differently from low anxiety to high anxiety? And next time we're going to talk more about, how do we, when we notice we're triggered, what we do to address it in a way that has us get out of the trigger instead of staying stuck in the trigger or going from trigger to trigger, which I was doing yesterday, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So that was a very interesting process to notice myself going from trigger to trigger. So anyway, thank you, Lisa, and thank you, viewers, for participating with us.
Bye for now.
Bye.